Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Quiet Lead 6685 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit. It says, am I the arsehole here for forcing my husband to take in his estranged daughter despite his wishes? And before we do get into this story, I do want to give you a trigger warning that there's mentions of sexual abuse within the story as well. So if you do want to skip it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. So my husband and I are currently cooling down from a fight, and he called me a few things, including arsehole. Everything is a bit of a mess right now, so emotions are running high, but I really need a sanity check and maybe some fresh arguments because I feel like we're going in circles. Long story short, my husband had a daughter when he was in his early 20s with his ex-girlfriend. They were not good for each other, a lot of fighting and just emotional abuse, so they split just before the child was born. He has been very open about this in our relationship and how he regrets not taking more care to not get her pregnant, because they were young and immature and stupid. He never really got to build a relationship with his daughter. Her mother would just keep the kid from him and made it clear that she did not want him in their life. He has paid child support the whole way through, but it has been an uphill for our entire relationship. When we met, my husband had matured greatly and was eventually ready to start a family. So I've seen a bit from the sideline. When our first child was born, his ex went for more child support because if he can afford a new kid, he can afford to pay up. She has always been super nasty in any conversation they might have, and she taught their daughter the same thing. He's tried to at least get a phone call for Christmas, and last year his daughter said some really awful things on that call, calling him a deadbeat and other awful things, telling him she hates him and never wants to get to know him. She is 13 now, so I know that her mother is still influencing her a lot, but she is also reaching an age where he can't just say that she doesn't know what she is saying or how hurtful it is. So my husband has basically given up trying. None of them want him to try, so he resigned to that. A few days ago, he got a call. The core of it is that his daughter told her teacher that she was being sexually assaulted at home. CPS showed up and her mother split, disappearing. They want her to come live with us. My husband wants to decline. He has no relationship with this child. She seems to hate his guts. We have younger children and honestly, no experience dealing with a trauma like that. He believes she'd be better off with a foster family who knows what they are dealing with. I told him there is no way this kid got abused, abandoned, and then getting rejected from the only family she has. We're taking her in and we will figure out the rest. That poor kid needs some stability, not getting tossed around in the system. Currently, we're not in agreement, and I know that he has the last word since I'm just his partner and not related to this girl. Am I being unreasonable in thinking that this is a huge red flag and he needs to step up and be a father for her too? Edit, okay, this has been a bit overwhelming to come back to, but I'll try and clear up a few things. I'm aware I have no legal say in the matter, but my husband and I are a team and a family, so my opinion matters to him. Neither of us have experience with the foster system, so we are really just going off what we think we know. I want to thank everyone who's been able to elaborate a bit more on this. Yes, my husband was a deadbeat dad in the beginning. Later on, he's been able to see that they were a really bad match, but that he should probably have tried harder. Once visits became an option, he tried, but she would forget and not be home or say it wasn't the date they agreed on and stuff like that. Maybe he could have gone through court, but he just gave up really. Hindsight is 2020, but it doesn't change the fact of the now, unfortunately. Mini updates, we sat down to have a talk about why the discussion had gone off the rails. Not touching the subject yet, but just why we ended up in a screaming match. He told me that he was completely overwhelmed by this and was in a panic. According to him, the CPS person had made it sound like he could take her in or she would go into a system that spits out drug-addicted prostitutes, as one comment colorfully put it. He feels really guilty for letting this happen to his kid. Even if she hates his guts, he feels like he should have done something to prevent this. I guess I was too focused on how bad his daughter might be off right now to truly see that he was hurting just as bad right now. We've agreed to talk about it again in the morning in a more calm setting and try to get some more facts about what can be done. It's like 2 a.m. and I'm exhausted, but we have both called off work tomorrow, so we can take the time we need. I hope there is a positive update in the near future. Human Jacket says to OP, what you are trying to do is admirable, but will likely blow up your family. You cannot even imagine the damage that has been done to this child. The stress will be so hard on your entire family, and your children don't deserve that any more than the daughter deserved what was done to her. There's another option. Foster care placement with frequent visits. She can start therapy and have time to get to know you and your family. Your family can start therapy and learn ways to handle her and help her. It may work out or it may not, but you'll have tried while balancing your children and giving your husband time to adjust. You're not abandoning her this way. Another user says, why is everything here an end-all be-all? Can the OP's family find some way to be with this girl and not put out to pasture? Regardless of what she's been poisoned with, doesn't mean she's not worth consideration. Mustang says you have no right to make a decision on this matter. You can give comments and suggestions, but this is his decision. Just like if you said no and he insisted, I would say divorce him. Was the mother doing this, or was it her boyfriend and ran off with him? This child will need so much therapy and probably hates her dad because he wasn't there to protect her. Bringing her right in would be more trouble, and she may say he is now doing it. By the way, you're 100% the arsehole here. And one more comment from Love being an arsehole. He says no one's an arsehole here except the Chesters. If you're going to fight over something, this is the fight to have, because there is no right or wrong answer, it's just a choice. At the top of the list of things to consider is that your husband has no relationship with his daughter, and in fact has a negative relationship. I would start there. Before you make any decisions, take a moment to meet the daughter. You have no idea how much of the mum's influence is stuck, or if this girl just did what mum said and knows what's what. When you grow up in this type of environment, you tend to be more, I don't want to say mature, but definitely don't have kid-like thought processes. So OP came in with a first update 3 days later and says things are pretty hectic right now, but a lot of people were kind enough to take the time out of their day to offer advice in their own experiences, and I want to say thank you for that. I'm not going into details, there is a lot more going on than I'm sharing here, so I can assure you that divorce is nowhere near on the table for us. We've had several tough talks in the last few days, but once we got past the worst panic, we were a lot more on the same page than we thought. My husband has agreed to take responsibility for his daughter and is looking into emergency custody of her. We're not trying to play family as some suggested. He's going to take legal charge of her and keep her out of the system. She will not be living with us right now. We've contacted an inpatient therapy clinic that can take her in to start the healing process. My husband has taken leave from work and leasing a second car so he can be there as much as needed and possible. He knows she might never consider him her father or even family, but from now on, we will be her support system. She won't have to depend on poor, overworked CPS contact, random legal guardians, home changing, etc. If she needs therapy, we will get it for her. If she needs legal counsel, we will get it for her. If she needs the system, we will help her navigate it. If she wants to live with a foster family, we will support that. We will make it clear that our support is not conditional on her playing family with us. She never has to set foot in our home if she chooses not to. We know that she might never appreciate any of it, but that is okay too. We have some savings we can take from, and we're setting up a college fund for her as well. It will not make her rich, but we hope to be able to cover at least some of it when the time comes. We're starting family therapy as well to start talking to our kids about the fact that they have a sister and that dad will be gone a lot more for a while. My husband will be starting therapy as well to work on his guilt and hurt from this whole situation. OP adds in the comments, I'll admit, the comments on the first thread were hard to read, but it did make me see that I was too naive. I have no doubt it is going to be hard right now, but we have a plan, some sort of direction for this. Most of it is theoretical at this point, but I hope we can make it work. So it was 3 months after that OP came in with another update and says, I'm not going into details, but kind people have reached out and offered help and advice, and I want to thank you all for that. We did not ship my stepdaughter off to a mental asylum indefinitely. She was with professionals that can make in-depth assessment of her health and outline a plan for us starting the process. My husband was there as much as his daughter and doctor wanted him to be. Her mum showed up. There is a criminal investigation going on, and my stepdaughter has, with the help of her therapist, testified. We're We're so proud of her and hope this can be a stepping stone for her to move forward. She lives with us now and we are working closely with professionals about how to make it work. It's not perfect, it's not easy, it's not fun, but it is not something we would change. I can't believe I have to say this, but yes, we asked her what she wanted all the way through this. We have not forced her to do anything. And again, another update came in 7 months later. It said, last September, I turned to Reddit after having an argument with my husband. We found ourselves in a difficult situation after it came to light that his daughter from a previous relationship had been sexually assaulted and her mum disappeared. A lot of people weighed in and reached out, and we got some very different perspectives on the whole thing. This is mostly a good update, but there are obviously a lot of bad stuff popping up along the way. I can't believe I have to spell this out, but we have spoken with my stepdaughter, we call her Anne, about every step of the way, what she wanted, how we could make it work. And yes, we have spent a lot of money on this. Thankfully, we're in a decent place financially and my in-laws have been helping out as well. I guess bad news first. Mum and her boyfriend showed up eventually and there is a trial in the works. I can't say too much, but I honestly think my husband was ready to go to jail for murder at several points. Anne testified, on video thankfully, so she did not have to sit through it in front of these people. My husband was/is there with her permission. Anne's therapist had alerted us and the police that he suspected that she had been drugged on some occasions, based on the things they talked about. My husband came home from that meeting and started researching how to get a gun. No, we did not get a gun with toddlers in the house. Unfortunately, there is no real chance of mum and boyfriend going to jail nearly as long as they deserve, which is forever in my opinion, but they will most likely get some jail time at least. Therapy is going well, all in all. Anne's therapist has facilitated some sessions between Anne and my husband which have been tough for both of them. A lot of things said. As the title says, Anne lives with us and has since she felt ready to after being in inpatient care for a few weeks. We cleared out the office and we got the biggest lock we could find for her door. It's symbolic mostly, but she can lock that door as much as she wants on her terms. We only ask that she keeps it fairly clean and no smoking or drugs. She's welcome at all meals but not forced, and I will always make enough that she can have it later if she wants. We did not see much of her in the first months, which was pretty expected from what we were told by our family therapist. One of us is always home, lest we go out all 5, and available. My husband got more work from home days so we can make it work. We don't force her to interact with her step-siblings, but she is mostly neutral towards them. We have implemented a no touching others without asking permission rule, and sometimes the kids slip up and forget in the heat of the moment, but she has taken it super cool so far. A few weeks back, our boy ran over to the TV while she was watching something and demanded I put on his favorite show. He's only seen it like 10,000 times. I told him no, Anna's using the TV and he has to wait his turn. Without any prompting, Anne told him it was okay, switched over and watched an episode with him. He was ecstatic and demanded another episode, which they watched before I pried him off the couch so she could watch her thing. I thanked her and assured her that she was free to say no in the future, and she said she didn't really mind. So yeah, she's not skipping school more than other teenagers. I know she has some Snapchat streak with some of the girls in her class that they do every day. Saving up for a new iPhone, stuff like that. Again, I'm not including all the details of our lives obviously. There are bad days and fights and yelling too, but I'm cautiously optimistic that Anne is going to turn out alright in the end. She's still not calling my husband dad and probably never will, but that's fine. We just want her to be able to live her life the best she can. In the comments, someone says thank you for providing her with the safety and stability she needs to process what happened and take the necessary steps towards healing. I'm also glad to hear that there will be some kind of justice for her and that they allowed her to testify via video. Her bravery and strength is truly commendable. Opie says we have really done our best to stress how brave she is being by speaking up and out against them. Once her part was wrapped up, my husband came home with 6 different kinds of ice cream and threw us an ice cream for dinner party. It was super silly but very sweet, and I think she got a little of the "oh my gosh dad, you're so embarrassing" teenage feeling for the first time. We ended up only eating maybe 1 box in total. I think the last bit is still sitting in the freezer. Another one says, "It sounds like you're doing all the right things. Keep at it and things will hopefully get better." Glow and Nibble says exactly. She's doing everything possible to give Anne stability and control over her space. The kind of patience and care will matter more than she knows. Opie says we're trying at least. I'll admit that none of us are perfect parents or guardians. A few months ago, the young ones had stomach flu and I didn't sleep for days. I was trying to take care of these two sick kids, not feeling great myself and just wearing thin. I asked Anne to help me with something and she told me, "You're not my mum," or something along those lines. I honestly cannot remember the exact words and I just snapped and told her that thank God for that because her mum is a shit person. Not my finest moment. I apologized, but I was on ice for a month or two, which is totally fair. I really do normally make an effort to not speak badly of her mum. Another commenter says it's not easy for anyone in this situation, but it sounds like you're doing the right thing most days and that's good as it's better than most do. Hang in there and try and allow yourself and your husband a me time to recharge the emotional battery. Everyone needs it and it isn't selfish. Opie says, I'll admit, I do miss our life from before we suddenly had a teenager and a criminal case on our hands. Just being in that system, even secondarily, is hell. But I do think that she is a good kid at heart. Still tests us at times, especially when she's in contact with her mum. They are not meeting obviously, but they have some phone time. Again, we're allowing the advice of professionals. My husband was not on board at first, and I get it, I really do. I wish that woman would sink into the earth and live out the rest of eternity in hell. No Appearance says, is there someone monitoring these calls at the very least? I know she's a teenager, but her mother is obviously not great and teenagers are not immune to manipulation. I was abused by my father and reported it at 16 myself, and still almost fell for his manipulation. OP says, we're in the room and she's on speaker for all calls, and we always make sure Anne can talk to her therapist either online or in person within a few days of each call. We've made it clear that she decides if she wants to talk to her, but cutting her off has to be her own choice, with the guidance from us and professionals. Bloody hell, that was a rough story. My mom, a poor girl, 13 years old, dealing with all of that manipulation, sexual abuse, losing what she thought at the time was normal, and then, going into all the therapy, the legal stuff she's battled. Can't imagine what was going through that poor girl's head at all this time. It's absolutely heartbreaking. I really do hope that she makes real progress going forward. Some of the parts that Opie was talking about, like giving her the reassurance that she doesn't have to attend family dinners, that she's got a lock for her door, she can separate herself, it's giving her the safety that she needs. And it sounded like she was doing like some normal teenage stuff, like the whole Snapchat streaks and wanting a new phone, testing boundaries, the normal teenage behavior. And hopefully she's getting to experience being just a regular kid for maybe the first time in her life. Absolutely heartbreaking, but what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's have another story. Now, our next story comes from Out of Sight Mind from the Wedding Shaming subreddit and says, this is what our officiant was going to wear without telling us. I don't know, I'm laughing already. I don't even know what it is. It says, this is what our officiant was going to wear without telling us. We implemented a hand fasting into our ceremony because we liked it and we're not following any particular traditions. Now, if you're like me, it took me a moment to recognize what hand fasting was. It's where they basically, it's an ancient Celtic and medieval tradition where the hands are bound, symbolically bound together with cord or ribbon representing their union, according to Google. This is the only Celtic thing really involved. Our officiant is a family member of my partner who is into Celtic stuff. We asked him to write some small pieces in the ceremony script. Just stuff like welcoming the guests and any personal anecdotes. He didn't do that. He waited until we asked what he had 10 days before the wedding and then sent us a Google copy-pasted, highly Celtic-inspired ceremony, like including rune stones. So we had the realization we should ask what he's wearing. This is what he sent. I really thought wedding planning might not drive me to insanity, but with every day the universe tests me a bit more. Officiant has been told he needs to wear a suit. He said he didn't have one. We told him to buy one. He said fine, but he's not wearing a jacket because it'd be too hot. I'm not going to bring up the fact that his original outfit is literally a jacket. OP adds an image. I haven't clicked it yet, but OP added next to it saying the jacket, cloak, a Assassin's Creed crossed with Lord of the Rings Tree of Gondor hoodie jacket, but suspiciously AI looking. Let's have a look. Oh geez, I can see what he means by the Assassin's Creed, because it is like the large hood that goes over the top, but then on the reverse it's got like the Lord of the Rings Tree of Gondor on the back, but it does look like a model that's been lifted out of the game. And then OP added image 2 and it just says the pants. And yep. They're just some huge baggy pants with a tree on each leg. Commenter said to OP, that looks suspiciously like those AI knitted tunics that were just nylon tunics with a knitted pattern printed on. OP says, oh, I'm almost 100% certain he ordered this at the last minute on something like Temu, so I'm expecting about as much. Commenter says, please get a new officiant. You must know someone normal who can get an online preacher's license or something. Will not trust this man to adhere to your preferences at all. Looks like he's treating your wedding as a fun dress-up game / ego boost for his own self. OP says we have a backup lined up in case anything goes wrong at this point. The original or current officiant has a family reputation for being a bit unreliable, but my partner was convinced he'd be able to lock in when it really mattered. He has since admitted his mistake in this matter. Commenter says, why are you having this random family member be your officiant? There's no way this is real. OP says, I really wish you were right. Unfortunately, this is my reality. Allow me to be the poster child of reasons why not to make your uncle-in-law your officiant. Commenter says, hang on. This man is old enough to be the uncle of an adult. I was imagining a much younger brother. OP says, no. He's like 40. Commenter says, you're right to post it here because it is a shame you denied that man a chance to give you a wicked sick 360 no-scope kicking rad wedding with a double ollie of awesome. Commenter says, I've spent too much time on this sub because until I swiped the second picture I assumed he was going to be naked apart from the jacket. Tell me he was planning on adding a shirt. Please. He wasn't going to officiate your wedding with his nipples out. I may lose my mind if you say otherwise. OP said I was too scared to ask. We have to live with this horrifying mystery together. Commenter says I have no words. Just laughter. Sorry. OP says, honestly, I just needed someone to confirm how hilariously stupid the situation is. So that helps. Commenter says, as a practicing pagan witch with Celtic ancestry, I regret to inform your officiant that isn't Celtic, it's Nordic. OP says, my partner and I are also practicing pagans actually, lol. But we aren't going to mention that to this guy because I can imagine how it would go. And OP adds, I mean, I would have been more open to things if he had discussed with us ahead of time. We're not super open about our religion, but incorporating elements of it into our ceremony was something we wanted to do. We didn't want to make it entirely a pagan affair because we are pretty private in that way. I don't really feel the need to elaborate and try to justify to you that I'm not a normie Christian playing at paganism. I wouldn't have been against him wearing something less traditional, but what he sent is horrible quality, and we found out a week before the wedding. There's not really time to do anything but get a suit. OP answers some question and says, he's not a random guy, he's a family member we care about a lot, and wanted to include. We asked him to write a little welcome to the guests. The ceremony itself had already been written and sent to him. He just forgot. We didn't discuss it being Celtic because it was never part of the plan. He assumed. We had conversations about vibes and expectations several times with family where he was present. He just didn't listen. I never once said he was an arsehole. I just expressed frustration at the lack of communication. So OP comes in with an update and says, I'm so happy to report that after our chat with our officiant, he actually did lock in. He told us he understood it was our wedding and everything was ultimately up to us. The day before, he was the one driving us to the hotel, helping us set up the venue, picking up our desserts, etc. That was part of the reason we didn't want to completely kick him off officiant duties, because we're relying on him for other things and didn't want to take that away from him while still expecting other things. We got married in a rainy area, and he even made a point to open the car door for me every time we went somewhere so we could get an umbrella over my head to make sure my hair stayed okay. He really was amazing. He went out of his way to help us and even cover the cost of the hotel, all the places we ate in the days before and after, the desserts of the wedding, etc. We did a practice run in the hotel with him and he took it very seriously. He annotated his script that we wrote in its entirety and took notes. On the day, he dressed normally. It probably wasn't what other people would want, aka it was less formal than might be expected of an officiant. But we weren't having a super strict wedding anyways. Before the snarky comments, not strict doesn't mean that Temu Druid was okay. He did great as an officiant and as a family member supporting us through the wedding. The day was amazing, and my now husband and I cannot stop talking about how we cannot find anything to complain about, which feels like a fucking miracle in the world of weddings. Genuinely one of the best days of my life, and I'm glad we chose the people we did to support us through it. Posting here was pretty funny because I got to see firsthand how no matter what you do, people will find something to judge. My partner and I tried hard to not be strict and overbearing during planning, since it's just one day in our lives. I was also particularly aware of the bridezilla trope and didn't want to make that impression. But somehow in the comments of my original post I got judgment for both not being as strict as I should and for being overly controlling. Lol. Someone literally called me a bridezilla for wanting to choose what my officiant wore. So in the end, this was a valuable lesson that no matter what, people will find something to complain about when you're planning a wedding. And if you're in that position right now, just try to be reasonable and kind, including to yourself, and you'll be okay. In the end, it's your day. Trust your gut, even if that means making choices others might not approve of. Maybe not the best message to end with on this particular subreddit, but oh well. Thanks to everyone who offered their advice, opinions, and jokes on my original post. Person saying Temu Druid absolutely tickled me, but he actually pulled through in the end, and I think that was pretty amazing that he bought the desserts, paying for the hotel, drove them over, getting an umbrella out to cover the hair. Absolutely amazing guy, and it was just after a little chat that it all got solved. There was no huge drama in this, just a chat and everything's solved. I like that. He sounded like a real nice guy that just got maybe a bit swept up in the moment. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the story. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the world to me, so thank you so much. I just keep thinking about that jacket. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.